for a little activity that I'd like to do with you guys at some point. I have kind of a rough plan of how I'd like to do this, but I was a teacher for, what was that? I was a teacher for 18 years and I quickly discovered that it's way more fun. If you wouldn't mind passing those out for me, that'd be great. I was a teacher for 18 years and I figured out it's way more fun to have a plan and then never follow it. So we'll see if I can actually follow the plan, but
Thanks, Miss Anderson.
thanks, Miss Anderson.
I'll be your sub.
Go wrap you up.
Oh, yeah, I'll be your supervisor.
Yeah,
I'm the principal.
I appreciate
Oh,
it.
there you go.
We're so
Let's
funny.
put ourselves in that.
The whole idea of this is basically trying to figure out how you can build a predictable pipeline that will feed you. And everybody's at different levels when we start. This is what, my 6th year, so I call it chapter 6. My teammate Sean, who I'm teaching this system to, is in his 2nd year, so he's chapter 2. So if you, whatever year you're in, that's your chapter. So Sarah, how many years have you been selling real estate?
11.
11. So you would be chapter 11. So your chapter is different than mine,
Like a good chapter.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're chapter 1, that's great. There's not there, then, we're just gonna have a little bit different expectations. Okay, so the whole idea of this is trying to figure out how can we build up a sustainable pipeline that's going to feed us. And there's just so many different ways to do it. And the way that I did it may not be the way, or the sources that I went after may not be the sources that you want to go after. And that's fine. I'm going to give you an example of 105 different prospecting activities that you can do. And you have to figure out what makes you tick. And so you can, go after that source and it will work for any of those sources. And, one of the things I really want to get into you is like some of the scripting and how we are going to approach some of these conversations. And if we need to have another class after this, we certainly can. This stuff just gets me going in the morning. I just love talking about this stuff. So I'm going to give you a real quick background for those of you that didn't see the original course at the team meeting. But essentially what happened was when I started selling real estate, I was a teacher. And like most people do, I started by reaching out to my sphere, trying to get business that way. I sent out a letter to what I would consider my top 100, and I got some deals that way. But I was still teaching full time, so I didn't have a ton of time to prospect and that sort of thing. I did 12 deals my first year. The 2nd year, I was half-time teaching, and then I went full-time after that. So I ended up doing 15 that year. But what happened to me was, I'm 45. I have a lot of friends and family that would be considered a move-up buyer. Okay. And a vast majority of them have an interest rate of 3% or 4%. So that reaching out to them and trying to get them to move up when the rates were getting into 6.5, 7, 8.25 was the highest I remember. It was very difficult. It was a really hard sell. So I'm like, I have to find something else to supplement this. So that's where I've kind of discovered this system that I'm now calling pipeline maturity, and kind of how you can go about and make this repeatable. This is the absolute best month I've ever had in real estate. I have 12 closings this month. That's not going to happen every month. I'm actually kind of happy about that because it's crazy, but it's just one of those things where, if you take the 12 closings this month and you divide it by, technically the 4 months that we have. So now we're talking 3 each month, and that's, 3 each month is great. That's what, 36 for the year. That's a hell of a year. So, like I said, I went 12, 15. When I figured out this system, I went up to 17. This was the year that I really started figuring it out and started getting it going. I was doing that year I was chasing a lot of realtor.com leads. OpCity was a program I was really trying to get established in, and it just wasn't working out well for me. I was working model hours with a builder that just was not working out very well for you. And I started kind of putting all of this together. Last year I did 24, and I will do well over 40 this year. So it's a natural progression. And the thing that I absolutely love about this is what the conversations that you have daily, you don't really have to add to them. And I'll show you how that works here, okay? So again, the whole premise of this is figuring out what chapter you're on and how many deals do you want to grab? I start with, if I can grab one extra deal every month doing this, that's 12. You figure average commission is 10, that's $120,000. So that's a huge win. So the quick stats on this are 7 conversations per hour. Now, this is if you're doing more of a cold outreach. Okay, Sphere is different. So let's just pretend that this is more of a, whether it's an expired or for sale by owner, circle prospecting, a just listed, just sold call. That's something that I'm definitely going to spend some time with you guys teaching you how to do that, because there is so much money to be made, and more importantly, people to help with the just listed, just sold calls. And we'll get into that in a second here. But you can kind of figure, if you're going to be doing a cold outreach, it's about 7 conversations an hour. These slides will be available to you as well. So feel free to take notes, but I will send this out to you as well. About 10% of those contacts will end up being a lead. I will explain to you what a lead is here in a second. 25% of those leads will end up equaling an appointment set over time. 70% of those appointments that you set will end up becoming an appointment that you meet with. 70% of those met appointments will end up being a listing that you take. And then it's normally higher than this, but let's just use about 80% of those listings you will actually get a paycheck on. Okay, has been higher. And a lot of these stats, as you go, the better you get, the higher this is. I'm getting a lead on almost every 5 contacts right now, because my skills have gotten incredibly better. My set to met rate is like 85. My met to taken is in the 90s. So you just get better and better and better with this. The one thing that I truly love about this is, you'll see it down there with the asterisks. It says, well, the number of conversations that you have daily will equal the number of transactions you have using this method. It's very true. So if you average 10 conversations a day, you can, over the course of a year, you can expect you're probably going to have very close to 10 transactions closed from this source. Okay, now again, this is not, let's just take the Sphere and put this off to the side. We're going to use this as a different example, but let's just say this is your cold outreach. Okay, what the number of cold outreaches that you have daily will equal the number of transactions that you have at the end of the year, which is pretty cool. Whoops, holy crap, and you hit the wrong button. There we go. Look at that, I'm already failing. Let's just fix that here quick. There we go. Okay, so this is the other part. So your pipeline. So let's just say that you do about an hour. Let's say you do an hour and a half a day. Okay. Start with an hour and a half a day, and you do that over the course of like 200 working days. You're going to generate essentially 100 leads. Okay. And I'll explain to you what a lead is here in a minute. They're really, really good. So you're going to generate about 100 leads. Now, 25% of those are going to convert to appointments. And then you kind of work through that whole funnel. So you remember this funnel that I showed you. So you work through that funnel with all those stats. In your first year, those 100 leads are going to end up being 10 that convert into a paycheck. Okay. So what's great about this is there's 75 that are left over that nothing happened. They're just in your pipeline. They're in your database. You're following up with them. I'll teach you how you follow up with them here in a minute. That now goes into year 2. So now year 2, you're still generating your original 100 through your hour and a half of calling. Now you have 175 leads. Okay, you go through that same progression, all those things. So now you're converting technically 17 and a half. So I'll just round down. So now you're at 17. Okay. Same thing, you go into year 3, doing the same amount of work calling, still generating 100. Now you have 250, now 25. Now you're up to 25 deals, and you can kind of see how this goes. So by year 4, you're at 40. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. My business is mixed. I have Sphere, I have past clients, and then I have this prospect. But you can see how this builds. And what I really like about this is really one source. It's like a cold outreach. So you start figuring out, geez, if you stick to this and you're like, gosh, I'm doing 40 deals by just calling cold outreach, that doesn't count your sphere. So I'm at the point now where I don't have to do as much phone prospecting because I have sphere deals coming in. So I don't have to do it every day. I still try to because I want to keep building that pipeline because I'm just very passionate about this. I like talking about it. I want to teach this and I just, the learning's in the doing. And I think of myself as a practitioner, not a theorist. It's like if I'm going to teach something, I want to be actually doing it so that you guys can, so as I learn, you can learn. So that's kind of how your pipeline builds. Okay. And obviously the numbers are different. If you are doing 30 conversations a day, those numbers are going to be 3 times that. And I have been in coaching with other agents that are doing 50 conversations a day. And it's insane. I mean, they literally get on the phone from 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, and then they go on their appointments. Well, they're doing 50 deals in their first year. Now, that doesn't work for me. I would like to stay married. My wife is an amazing human being. I would like to stay married. And my daughters probably would like dad to still be around and coach and that sort of thing. So that just doesn't fit me, but it might fit somebody else, and that's fine. So again, this is very repeatable and it's very scalable to how you want to do it. Okay, so what is a lead? A lead to me, and this is how I will mark it in my notebook. A lead to me is somebody that has motivation, and it has to be real motivation. Okay. It can't be, well, my house is worth 500,000, and if somebody gives me 550, I'll sell. Well, that's not motivation. That's pie in the sky. Okay. So it has to be somebody that has clear motivation to sell. Okay. I like a timeline typically within a year. I will stretch that based on my conversations as I'm feeling out the person and figuring out their why and that sort of thing. But I like it typically within a year. I will always ask them if they are committed to another agent. Okay. Because I'm trying to eliminate that competition. So essentially, I would say something along the lines of like, hey, Kelly, like when you decide to put this home on the market, do you have just an amazing rock star realtor that you're 100% committed to? Or would you be open to having a conversation with me? I always say it like that. And I would say 95% of the time the answer, well, no, I don't have an amazing rock star. Not everybody's working with Sarah Anderson, so that's great. There's more pie for us, right? So, but that's a really good way to say it. You don't say, do you have an agent? Because what are they going to say? Yes, everyone's going to say, yeah, I have. Oh, I know Billy. Billy sold John's house down the corner. Yeah, well, Billy sucks. So we're not.
Or my son's friend got it.
Exactly, same thing. So we're going to say something along those lines. We're going to say, again, like, hey, Sarah, if you're going to put your house on the market, do you have an amazing rock star realtor that you're 100% committed to? Most people, again, will say, no, I don't have that person. Here's the next 2 that are really important. So we want the prospect to invite us to follow up. Okay. There's a really easy way to do that. There's a right way and a wrong way. The wrong way is you don't say, hey, Piper, mind if I call you in 3 months? You don't say that. That's not commitment. What we're going to say is we're going to say, hey, Will, when would you like to hear from me again? Next Thursday. And that's going to go in my calendar. That's a real commitment. When would you like to hear from me again? That is one of my most famous, and I shouldn't say mine because I did not invent this. I wish I would have because it's really good. But when do you want to hear from me again? Is one of the greatest follow-up lines ever. And it works for everything. It works for your MET and your habit MET. So I'm going to break that down. Our 2 sources right now is into habit METs and METs. So it's going to work really well with either of those.
Have you ever had anybody say never?
I have. Yep. And that's okay. Here's the thing. Here's the one thing that is really important. And we're going to talk about mindset here in a minute. And there's a reason why I didn't start with mindset because nobody wants to talk about it. But we are going to talk about mindset because it's very, very important. Okay. And I'm going to explain to you how important it is and why we're going to talk about it. But one thing that I'd like you guys to write down on that sheet of paper that I gave you is I'd like you to write down the word abundance. Okay, I'd like you to write it down. I'd like you to write it down in capital letters. And I'd like you to do one of these little circle things around it, okay? Because this is really important. We live in a world of abundance. Okay, again, I'm not going to try to get too mindset-y on you right at this moment. I will here in a little bit. But we live in a world of abundance. There are deals happening all around us constantly. Okay, so that's going to be one of the first mindset things that we're going to go into. So again, when do you want to hear from me? And the last part is they are going to offer up an email. Okay, so you're going to get their email address so that you can put them into the follow-up system, which I will teach you here in a little bit. Okay, email is very, very important to get that email. I will not consider it a lead if they don't give me an email. In my experience, if they're not giving me an email, they don't want to hear from me. That would be what is called a false lead. There's another word for it, but I can't think of it what it's called. I'll remember it here shortly. Look. You definitely want to get that email. Okay. So let's talk about lead sources briefly. Again, we have habit METs and we have METs. Okay, there's two different strategies for both. The MET is a whole different ballgame. Your sphere, your database, your past clients is a very different conversation. Okay. That whole conversation is going to be built around the Ford strategy. So conversations built around family, occupation, recreation, and then dreams. We're not going to get so much into that at this time. Maybe if we have some questions and answers at the end, we can do that. We're going to talk more about habit METs. The thing that I love about habit METs, there's a lot of them. I built my business on habit METs. Circle prospecting, I love because you get to pick the neighborhood you want to work in. So, Kelly, you have a couple listings that have sold recently. Have you been calling around your listings? Just listed, and again, this is fine, but this is something that you can do because you have some really powerful information that those neighbors need to know. You just sold a neighbor's house, and everybody is curious to what the neighbor's house sold for. So you are now providing them with value, and we'll get into how you start that conversation. But I'm telling you right now, for every 100 people that you talk to in a circle prospecting, you're going to get at least one deal. Guaranteed. And you can be the worst person on the phone ever. I am not kidding you. You could literally call 100 people and say, are you going to sell your house? Which is like the worst script in the world because it's a yes or no question. And you will get at least one person that will say yes. Which is crazy because that's a $10,000 check. Depending on your price point. But let's just say you're in the Lakeville area, Burnsville area, and it's a 350, a $300,000 house. That's a $10,000 check. And you have the worst script ever. But now the problem is, and this is where people run into issues, is you're going to get 99 no's, which is why mindset's so important. I love personally expireds because they're really hard and they're for lack of a better term, they're pissed off. I love that challenge, Sean. I've gotten really, really good at it. But I've made myself good. That's the whole thing. I made myself good. And we'll get into that in a little bit too. Fizzbos, I don't touch. I hate Fizzbos. They just drive me nuts because they hate realtors. And I'm like, that's a challenge. Like, I have a little bit of pride in what I do. So it's like, I'm done with you. And then I did do a ton of business on internet leads when I started. I went away from that because I felt like I was able to generate my own leads that were significantly better and I don't have to pay a referral fee. So I don't pay any referral fees now. I'm actually really proud of that. And if you are doing internet leads, great. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to figure out what works for you. I figured out that the system that I'm going to teach you here it works for any of these habit METs. It's the same thing, but it's like I can go generate my own and I don't have to pay anybody. So the powerful prospecting activities, you guys are going to get a copy of this. So this is from my buddy Kyle Cross. So I'll send this out, but this gives you 105 different prospecting activities that you can do, and you can track the data on all of these. Okay. So I'll make sure that you guys get a copy of this, okay? And like I said before, I'll send you this PowerPoint too, or this Google Sheets or whatever the heck these things are called now, but I'll send those to you. That way you have that, but. Okay, so let's talk about mindset. This is my favorite one of all time. So we talked about abundance. Right next to abundance, or actually in the middle of your paper, if you haven't done this, I want you to do this one for me. I want you to write, what if? If you don't follow David Goggins, you should.
Yes.
Love David Goggins. He's a retired Navy SEAL. Really interesting life, but I get a ton of my mindset stuff from him because he's just a phenomenal human being. He says, what if a lot? And it really helps. And what I actually say to myself every morning when I get up is I say, well, what if I can take a listing a week? And that's what I'm working on right now. And you can change that to whatever you want. You can change that to what if I could take a listing a month? But it's that dreamer mentality that just fuels me. It just feeds me. And I think about that all the time. And when I'm building my personal life by design, I think to myself, well, what if I can sell 52 homes that are all listings? I can refer all of my buys out to another agent. And then I can coach 2 softball teams, 2 basketball teams. What if I can have an amazing client care coordinator that helps me out with all my admin stuff so that I can have this big life where I really, for the most part, have a very balanced business and family life. And I just think about that every day. What if? That's my what if. Yes, Sarah.
I break it down a little differently.
Sure.
But especially when I have a list of people that I need to call.
Yeah.
I literally say to myself, like, what if this person just talked to their husband about selling last night?
Yeah.
What if this person decided that they want to move after their kid graduates, whatever it is?
Yep.
And then that makes me want to know, okay, well, what's on the other side of that phone
Yeah.
call?
Which is great. That's awesome. And that's the whole point is you got to figure out, I love that. So you've now figured out something that gets you motivated to
Some
do
days.
that, right? No, and then, hey, and you know what? Hey.
Yeah, yeah.
Just so you know, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm really good at this. But I still hate doing it. I literally hate doing it. It's like exercising. Like once I'm exercising,
Amy and I talked about.
once I'm exercising, I love it. And the feeling I get after I'm done, it's like you bottle that up and you put it in a drink and people are super happy. That's like the Captain Morgan, right? That like I'm a Captain. It's the same thing with this prospecting, the pride that you feel after you've done this, especially if you do it first thing in the morning, you're like, oh my gosh, I literally just did something that nobody else wants to do. And it doesn't even matter what happened. So that's what I just love that what if. So I would encourage you to spend a little bit of time this next couple weeks just thinking about saying that what if, what if, what if. And every time I say it, I just start smiling. I'm just like, gosh, it doesn't even matter what it is. It's like this, we love going to church in my family, and we've been so busy with sports, we haven't gone. And then we finally, we went on Easter, and I was just like, oh, what if we went every week again? I started doing it with that. I'm just like, it just starts fueling me. What if I could actually do 75 homes? What would that look like? Do I even want to work that much? I don't know. I mean, it's just you can do it with everything. Like, what if I actually got to 185 again? What would that feel like? I mean, 220 is great, but what would 185 feel like? Yeah, bowling score. What if I actually stopped drinking Diet Coke and I drank more water? You can do it with everything. So the other one that I love, and I will actually write this down. I will write these things down in my notebook. I'll see if I have a picture of it from it in here. I will write these things down as I'm prospecting. I don't have it in this notebook. I have it in my other one. But I'll write what if in my notebook. And then right below it, I'll write callous your mind. So the best example I can give you of this is imagine, you're doing pull-ups and your hands don't have any calluses on them. Well, over time, they're just gonna keep getting calluses because you're doing the same activity. Same thing with calling. I know that every single time I make a call, I'm getting better. And I don't care as much, It's like I'm 45, I really don't care what I wear. I remember when I was, 16, I cared a lot. It's like I really just don't give a rip anymore. It's like I calloused my mind. It just doesn't matter to me. So I write that down. Number 3 on here is huge. It's detaching from the outcome. I see Sarah shaking her head because she's figured it out. Right? If you've sold real estate for longer than 2 years, you know that when you start building up a business and you start getting stuff that's coming in, the more business that comes in, the less you care if it doesn't close. Which is so empowering. And what's crazy about this is people can feel this. I talk to my sphere all the time. And what's changed for me is as I've grown my business through prospecting, like my sphere, like it's like they just come to me because they can just tell, like, I don't need your business. I would love to work with you. I think you'd be an idiot if you didn't work with me. I don't say it to them that way, but I don't need it. And they can feel that. So I will write that on my notebook, detach from the outcome. Because at the end of the day, when you're making these calls, no matter what happens, it's an outcome. Some are going to go well, some are going to be terrible, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. The other thing that I always remind myself is I'm not a commodity. Okay? We are not commodities here. Okay? Every single person in this room has a very unique ability or skill that you bring to this world. So you are not a commodity, and your business is not a commodity either. Okay? There's a reason why people want to work with you. If you don't know what that is, start asking yourself what if a lot. Okay? Figure that out, but you are not a commodity. So I write that down. One of my favorite sayings that I heard is, if you generate, you don't have to tolerate. Just very true. When you generate your own leads, you generate your own pipeline, you do not have to tolerate. I, at this point, have not fired a client yet. I was very close to firing one. But I'm also a problem solver, so I figured out how to work through it. But there are leads that I'm like, I'm not going to call that person back. Yes, they're a lead. Yes, I'll put them in my database. Yes, I will drip on them with my system because maybe they'll change. Maybe their situation will change. Maybe they'll call me back and I don't want to work with them, but maybe there's somebody in the office that might fit their personality better that I can refer them out to. That way, at least if I'm not winning, the team, like that KWPR, the team, somebody's winning. But again, if you generate, you don't have to tolerate. That's what I really, really like about the system. And then the last one, this is a little more of an egotistical one. This is when I'm really feeling good. I'm like, well, if I don't do this work, some other agent's going to do this and they're going to completely screw it up. You need that mindset when you're working expireds, because I've seen it all the time. I come in as a second or third agent all the time and fix messes. And I'm like, God, how did you hire this guy or gal? They are horrible. So that's another good mindset. So I'm going to walk you through just real quick. What I love doing in my notebook is I will separate my notebook out. So I have this spiral notebook here. Okay. You see it, I always work with one of these. On my left side, I will write task list. Because we have tasks that we have to do. So I'll brain dump all my tasks. So I gotta call Billy. I got the dentist for Paisley. Jimmy, I gotta text him back because he had some question about whatever. So I will brain dump. So I'll do this in the morning. Sit down in my office. I'll brain dump everything so it's just out. So now I know, okay, these are things that need to get done today, but they are not urgent. They're important, but they are not urgent. And then on this side, this is my favorite side, the right side, I'm gonna write down conversations. I'm gonna write down no's. I'm gonna write down leads. And I'm gonna write down appointments. So I track everything. So if you were in my first class at the team meeting, I was telling you that my number was $53. Every time the correct homeowner answers, it's $53. I'm proud to say that as of Friday, it's 75. $75. And I have two more that are closing next month, which should put me very close to 100. That's my goal, $100. I've been tracking this now for 3 years. So every single time, if I call Kelly's house, she's on my list of people to call. She answers, no matter what she says, it's $100. That's my goal. Now, the downside is you know that we're in a lag business. It doesn't pay right away. It takes a little bit of time. But the fact that I have that, it's really encouraging to know, holy cow, like I just have to do this activity. I just have to detach from the outcome. Again, I write this down in my notebook right in the middle. I just have to detach from the outcome and I'm going to get that. So my maps coach actually has me taping money on the top of my computer. So now I'm about to have to tape $100 bill on the top of my computer to remind me what's the most important thing that I should be doing. Because, you know, you get busy, Sarah, you guys get this, you do a deal. I mean, you wake up in the morning and you look at your inbox or your text and you're like, oh my God, seriously? That's why I like to do the brain dump. Because it's like, I mean, even if you have an assistant, it's like there's still all the stuff you have to do. So I brain dump this so that I can prep for me, it's 9 to 11. I love doing 9 to noon is my favorite because I put my kids on the bus. If my wife was not working, which is the goal is to get her to be, well, I can't call her my assistant, the MVP of my life, whatever, for her to help me with the business. That's the goal, especially with the kids in the morning, so I can start at 8. So if I could do 8 to 11 every day, that would work really well with my schedule, so that I have more time in the afternoon to service. So that's the goal. But again, I'm 9 to 10 pretty religiously, 9 to 11 most days that I can. I love to do 9 to noon, and then I go to lunch and do all the other stuff. But so again, I detach from the outcome. I will normally write what if on the top of my notebook. I love doing that. I'll write callous my mind. I write these things down as I'm going to motivate myself, because it's not really fun. Picking up the phone and calling people for 3 hours is not fun. But if I do that, it kind of keeps me in the game, right? So then you make a call, you write it down. Okay, so I had the first call. Well, what happened? Well, that was a no. So that obviously over the course, if you're circle prospecting over the course of an hour, you're probably going to talk to 10 people. You're probably going to end up with, most likely you're going to end up with 10 conversations, 9 no's, and 1 lead. That's typically how it's going to work. It doesn't always work out that way, but it'll be something like that, which is great. I just generated a lead. The other thing, oh yeah, go ahead.
If you want to continue.
No, go ahead. I'll remember.
So how do you, so I assume you've got a caller.
Dialer?
Yes, thank you, a
Yes,
dialer.
yeah.
So when are you like making notes, I suppose, as you're talking to them versus, get done, hang up, and then, put in the note? I'm just trying to think logistically how it would all work and how you
Yeah.
make sure that you're not losing somebody that's a lead
Yep.
or,
Yeah, great.
that sort of.
Yeah, great.
And if you want.
No, that's great. Let's handle that now. Let's get into some more tactical stuff. So I use Vulcan 7. I love Vulcan 7 because Vulcan 7 is a single line dialer. It will wash out the do not call list so that you can get that. It does it for you. It has a CRM that's built into it. It will give you expired data. It'll give you for sale by owner data. It will give you for rent by owner data. It will give you regular circle prospecting type data. You will pay extra for the enhanced data, which I do, but I split an account with Sean, my teammate Sean, so we use it together. So we pay, it's not cheap, but the dialer's phenomenal. So we pay $500 a month for that, but we split it. So what is that? It was at $6,000. I'm just like, you know what? One half of a deal is gonna pay for that. So I love that, but the dialer is so fast. So again, if I was to call you and we have a conversation, I'm normally not taking notes when we're talking because I want to focus on our conversation. I just don't multitask very well. For me, multitasking means that I'm doing two things half-ass. So I'm just listening to our conversation. When the call's done, I write down quick notes. And then in my notebook, down here on this side at the bottom, I will write Kelly A. Okay. I'll write lead. And then I'll write HomeBot is HB database, email, text, card. Okay, so we'll just cover this now. So you come in as a lead. Later on that day, you're gonna get an email from me. You're going to get a text message from me that has my card. It's just a thanks, like, hey, thanks, Kelly. We had a great conversation. I'm looking forward to speaking with you in June. Okay. I'm gonna set you up on HomeBot. If you're not on HomeBot, you should. It's amazing. And I will actually go into HomeBot and I will tune up the value of the house because sometimes it's not accurate, but I call it, it's like the Zestimate on steroids. It's way, way, way better. I will get you in my database. So I have a Google sheet that has names of all my database that goes out to my newsletter. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then I will actually send you a thank you card. So I have thank you cards that are made that have my picture on there. And it's got a couple QR codes on the back that have to my Google reviews. And I should have brought one with me. I don't remember what the other one was. Oh, my experience, my homes.com profile has all my sales and stuff. So they have an idea that what they are potentially working with. And I sent them that card. And what's crazy is I will call them back. Sometimes it's 3 months down the line because I like, when do you want to hear from me again? You say 3 months, I'll call you back and hey, I'll simply say something like, hey Kelly, this is Brian with Keller Williams. We had a great conversation back on April 7th. Do you remember when we were talking? Oh yeah. I'm getting your home bot and oh, thank you so much for the card. Ever since I put that card in, people really remember because nobody does handwritten cards. Nobody. You know how long it takes to write a handwritten card? Thanks for our conversation today and send it. You have to do that. It's such a game changer in these follow-ups because nobody's doing this. Everybody's sending a text, which is great. I'll send a text. Everybody's sending, and then there's dripping on them, but that personal touch is huge, and it will work with any lead source. So I highly encourage you to get some of those cards made up that have your picture on there. It's like a real estate card. In the meantime, just go get a blank card or whatever. Just go buy the packs and just write in there. But it's huge. Okay.
So how long would you say it takes you? Like you get done with a call as a lead. How long does it take you to do this before you're on to your next call?
So I don't do any of this until after.
Okay.
Okay. Because I try to keep pretty close to that. Let's say I'm doing a 9 to noon. Those are some of my favorite days ever because I got a light day. So it's like I know at 9 to noon and then I'm going to Chipotle. And don't tell my wife this, but some days I got nothing in the afternoons. I'll take a nap and it's awesome. But so I just love fall is great. Fall is a little bit slower business wise. So I'm calling like crazy in the fall, like September. I love the kids go back to school. And it's like, oh my gosh, September through like December, I'm just like ring, ding, ring. And then it's just like Chipotle nap. It's just like awesome. But anyway, so to answer your question, if I call for 3 hours, I'm probably gonna have 4 or 5 of these. Okay. You may not when you start, but you'll get there. So then I'm gonna take a half hour to an hour, depends, and I'll go through this, because sometimes if you're tuning up that HomeBot, I like to check a couple different sources quick. I'm not doing a full CMA, I'm doing a quick one, and obviously I've gotten really fast at it. But I would say that's, admin work that you're gonna do later on in the day. Okay, I try to keep my mornings, and I'm not perfect at this, but I'm trying to get way better, where it's like mornings is lead gen time, afternoon is servicing and appointment time. And I'm not great at it, but I'm getting better. Okay. Did that answer your question? Okay. So that's mindset, right? So again, this is numbers. This is based on 100 contacts a week, which is 20 contacts a day, that's a lot. Okay. That's probably going to take you about 3 hours. Not everybody wants to do this, but these numbers are crazy. So if you do 100 contacts a week, let's just say circle prospecting. Okay, this is a circle prospecting, just listed, just sold calls. I'm going to teach you how to do that because those are the easiest calls. Every 100 contacts, you're going to end up getting on average 2 qualified listing appointments. Okay, and you're going to end up taking 1 listing. Now, here's the caveat. It's going to take a little bit of time to build this up. So don't call 1 week and go, well, I didn't get anything. Okay, we got to try to eliminate some of that instant gratification. Okay, you got to give this 6 months, which I know is a lot, but you will start to see results well before that. Okay, so that's 400 contacts a month. That ends up being 4 listings. Okay, and it just compounds, right? Well, 4 listings per month is going to equal 3 sales, right? So you're going to sell, that's 75%. It's probably going to be 4 if you price it correctly in this market, but let's just err on the side of caution. If your average sale is $300,000, that's 3 sales per month. That's $900,000 in volume. That $900,000 in volume is essentially 10.8 million annually in volume, which if you're at like 3% on your listings, that's essentially $254,000 in income. Okay, just averages out to 21 grand a month. I don't know too many people that would be upset about making 21 grand a month.
Mm-hmm.
These numbers do not lie. It's literally out there for your taking. The question is, and I ask myself this question every day, what if, sometimes it's what if I don't do this, but what would my life look like if I actually did that? Am I willing to hear 98 no's to get the 2 yeses to earn that? And again, that's just on cold outreach, okay? It's not factoring in sphere business and all that stuff. But here's the thing that's crazy about this. You don't have to do this for 10 years. Sarah, how much sphere business are you? Do you know how much sphere business you're getting database? Is it pretty high?
90%.
Exactly, right? But you didn't start that.
No,
No.
I
Okay.
did FISBOs.
Yeah, perfect, good. I'm glad. Yeah. But like, so for me, again, you're chapter 11, I'm chapter 5. I'm starting to get a lot more repeat and referral business, which I call it the come list me calls, which is awesome. It's just like I got 3 last week on the cruise, and I'm like, this is freaking sweet. I'm literally in the Caribbean melting, and people want me to list their house when I get home. But it takes a while to build that up, right? It doesn't happen day one. That's why you do this to get started, right? You do this to get started because what else are you doing? When I was second year agent, I had nothing going on. You can only do so many Facebook posts and videos where it's like, let's add some things in here that's where I'm hunting and I'm going out and getting stuff, right? Yes, CC.
You just hit on a lot of things, and I just want your opinion, because of the current real estate realm today.
Yeah.
And agents and how they go about listings and things like that. And because you've done a lot of coaching, why is this not done? Like, where is the challenge? Why do you find, or what have you found as to why agents don't do this? Even if it's not specifically your thing, why don't agents sit and lead generate, in your opinion?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of this philosophy of the path of least resistance? So let me ask you guys all, I mean, it's the same thing. Why do people not get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and exercise? Why do people not? And by the way, when I say people, I'm talking about me here. So again, I'm not Jesus. I have problems.
That this completely relates to team leaders as well,
Yeah.
like, so.
Yeah, this is everybody,
Yeah,
right?
it's everybody.
They don't want to. Because they don't want to, right? The pain is not great enough for them to make a change. That's for everything. You know? I came back after the cruise and I'm like, okay, we need to start eating better. That's sweeter, not looking as good in the mirrors. We should be. It's not, not the pain is the real now. It's like, that was fun. But if I'm gonna be saving people's lives like Shane Corn as a firefighter, I gotta be in the Shane Corn plan here. I can't be. But I mean, that's the reality. That's why I like the what if. That's why I like the mindset, because people don't want to do it. And here's the thing, guys, you don't have to do it every day. Better if you do. Significantly better if you do, because you get into that routine. It's just like exercising. Sure, most of us here have probably exercised 5-6 days in a row. Feels really damn good, doesn't it? It's the same thing with your lead gen. And again, it doesn't matter how you do it. You don't have to cold call. Hey, you can go after the Mets. Okay. That's where we all want to get anyways, right? But that's to answer your question, that's why. Because people have realized, well, hey, you know what? I know that social media can get deals. I know that video can get deals.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna post on there and I'm gonna wait. And that's fine. You guys go ahead and wait. Okay? While you're waiting, I'm hunting.
Yeah,
Okay? And again, that's me. That's me. But this is predictable. Okay, I know what I'm closing this month. I know what I'm closing next month. I know what I'm closing in June, and I have a pretty dang good idea what I'm closing this fall. Because of this. I don't know what's coming in on social. I got no clue. If you look at my social, it's pretty rough. I don't post. I don't like it personally. It's not for me. Like, I do it to work. I do it so my sphere remembers that I actually exist and I'm in real estate. That's it. That's me. Again, you got to do you. So this is what I like about tracking your numbers. Now, again, maybe you're only going to do an hour a day, which is 7 contacts. Well, you can figure that out too. Again, 7 contacts a day consistently is going to be 7 deals. So figure out what your normal deal is. And you can figure that out. Here's the key though. Here's what I love about circle prospecting, and I don't do enough of it. I should. I'm just crazy about expireds. I'm just freaking nuts. But you pick your neighborhood. Okay. If you want to work $1 million neighborhood, you go for it. You probably only need 7 sales in $1 million neighborhood, and you're living high on the hog, right? Which is great. There's nothing wrong with them. Okay. Okay, let's get into some tactical stuff. The phone call framework. Okay. So when we start our phone call, this is for habit mets. Okay. You'll get the scripts. Okay. But I want to walk you through this. So when you are doing your phone call framework, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to do what's known as a pattern interrupt. Okay. So it's going to go something to the effect of, this is a habit met, it's a circle prospecting lead. I would say, hey, Cece. Cece?
yes, hi.
Hey, this is Brian. I'm a realtor. Listen, real quick before you hang up, would it be all right if I asked you a quick question?
Sure.
Here, watch my body language when I'm doing this. This is really important. I'm going to switch partners. Sarah?
Yes.
Yeah, hey, Sarah, this is Brian. I'm a realtor. Listen, real quick before I hang up, would it be all right if I asked you a quick question? Sure. Okay. 99.2% of the time, that's going to get you a yes. Okay.
Even if it's reluctant.
Even if it's reluctant, that's all I want.
Rolling their
Yeah, they're
eyes.
like,
It's permission-based selling. Okay? Permission-based selling. It will work. Don't do it on your sphere because they already know you. That's done. Okay? That's a different. This is anybody you don't know. This is expireds, FSBO, circle prospecting, internet leads. You're working internet leads, same thing. I killed it on internet leads with that line. Because they don't know you and they don't remember filling out the form. It's that simple. They don't. Okay? Now, I'm gonna go through this quick and then I'm gonna put the script up because I think it's gonna work better that way. Okay? So, we're gonna go through the pattern interrupt. We're gonna go for no. That says go for no. I forgot the R. Proofread it.
Oh, no, go for it.
I needed Timley to proofread it for me.
No, that's works.
Go
That's all
for
I
no.
needed. Oh, no. Go for those.
We're gonna
Go for
use
no.
no-oriented questions. We're gonna mirror and match. I'll teach you how to do that. We're gonna use tactical empathy, which is my most favorite thing in the entire world. It looks like, sounds like, it seems like. If you have not read or listened to Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, do yourself a favor and download it today.
Not
And
just
listen to it.
hatred or violence. Anger and other strong emotions can on rare occasions be effective.
Yes.
It is next to the two David Goggins books. It is I'm not kidding you, I've listened to it 12 times.
What is that name of that book again?
Never.
Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
Is it only audio?
No, you can read it.
Okay, because that sounded horrible.
Okay, yeah, you can reread it.
Okay.
Yep. It is phenomenal. I was helping Cece a couple weeks ago with some of her phone scripting for recruiting, and she listened to it. And would you say it helped?
Yeah, and I had to recruit Colin, so thank God I
Yeah.
listened to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll teach you some of that stuff. Again, at the end, we are going to try to trigger a that's right. Okay, we don't want to hear yes. We want to hear a that's right. We're going to trigger that by using tactical empathy and a summary. And my favorite thing is the pull away. Oh my gosh, I love the pull away. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not there. I'm certainly not the right agent for everybody. But would you be totally opposed to a quick meeting to figure out if we might be the right fit to work together?
Sounds good.
Simple. Because now he's thinking, well, shit, this guy might not even want me. It's like getting rejected at the prom. You know, it's like, oh gosh. Yes, that does happen. Maybe not to you.
No, I was wondering, does that always work?
Every time. Almost every time. Okay. All right. So again, you're gonna get the slides for all of this. Let me get in and let me pull up the script.
While you're pulling that up, Brian, I can see where that line would totally work, but that is like a script practice thing. You cannot say that line like you're reading it off a piece of paper and expect someone to say, yes.
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
So you need to say that about 100 times before
Yep.
you say it to a human being on the other.
True story.
Good point.
Yep, so that's just like anything, and thank you for bringing that up. That's where when we get into these scripts, what I would like you to do is I'd like you to figure out kind of how it's gonna work for you. But you really need to write it out 5 times a day for a couple weeks. And I would practice it in the car, I would practice it in the show, I still do. Especially like I have a big phone prospecting week this next week, because I have a lot, again, I have 12 deals closing this month, so it's freaking nuts, but it's like. I have a big phone prospecting week, so I will be running through my scripts and practicing like crazy. And I do this all the time. You know, I got like 3,000 cold calls under my belt, but I still have my scripts up in front of me so I can go back to them, and I'm practicing this all the time. So I want to just talk real briefly about call reluctance. This is my little cheat sheet here. I love these guys. You guys are gonna laugh at this. Okay, so. All right, so call reluctance. Well, what's the worst thing that can happen if I make this call? Well, literally the worst thing that can occur is you don't already have what you don't have, okay? I literally have nothing to lose because I don't have anything right now. Well, what's the best thing that can happen? Well, I can get an appointment. I can get a lead. I can get a seller nurture, okay? Well, how will I feel if I don't make the call? This goes back to exercise. How will I feel if I don't exercise? Well, I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna carry around all this guilt that I didn't do shit today. Both are painful, but the benefit of prospecting or exercise is the pain is typically worth it. Okay, I'll make the calls regardless of the outcome. What is the likelihood that I'm gonna get what I want if I don't make the calls? Even if I don't get the lead, this one's so important. Even if I don't get the lead or appointment, are there benefits to making these damn calls? Yeah, your skills grow. My skills of conversation and speaking with sellers and just people in general has grown exponentially because I've spent all this time on the phone. Your self-confidence grows. Don't let how you feel dictate your actions, but rather the actions you take dictate how it is that you feel. Just do one and then decide how you feel. That's a huge one, especially with exercise.
Yeah.
I don't want to exercise. I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna do one pull-up. Now I'm hooked. Okay? And if this was when I was stopping it, I gotta tell you this, because when I was stopping, Sarah, you get a kick out of this. So when I was teaching, which is better, prospecting or teaching? Prospecting or working for Sam Frederickson? I probably shouldn't say that, but he was a horrible principal. Prospecting or writing IEPs? Prospecting or limited income
Yeah.
teaching? Prospecting or non-flexible 8 to 4 schedule? Prospecting or asking for days off and not getting approved on that stuff? Prospecting or working with whiny, ticked off teachers?
Teachers, I love that it's teachers and us.
It's
Never the students. Prospects or students with behavior needs and no, well, I guess I shouldn't say that because there are some. Prospecting or teaching 10 class a day.
Dang.
Prospecting or constant interruptions. Do you want to teach again? If not, you better prospect. I literally look at this every day for prospecting. Then I go into some David Goggins stuff. Do something that sucks every day. Double down on your weaknesses. Do the hardest thing first. Afraid of making calls, make as many calls as you're no longer afraid to do.
Yeah.
Don't like something, do it so much it doesn't bother you anymore. Callous your mind. You know, just all sorts of stuff.
I like that voice.
Pick up the phone, motherfucker.
That's David.
That's David Goggins. Sorry for the language, but
Yeah,
you know, I was looking at that. Get myself jacked.
yeah.
All right, let's get into the calls.
What does Mel Robbins sound like?
What was that?
What does Mel sound like?
Oh, Mel, sorry.
Yeah, you need to do her.
Mel's great because Mel's very much the opposite of David Goggins. She has this thing called like the 5-second
Yep.
rule where it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Which I really like. That works really well. You're never gonna feel like doing it. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and you just do it. How you feel in the moment is almost never aligned with your goals and your dreams. You need to separate your actions from your feelings. So all of these, I went down this motivational speaker rabbit hole years ago, and I can't get out. It's awesome. I just love it. So they're all great. They're kind of repackaging the same message in different ways that will work for different people. But
The green line is what gets me going. That's my.
I wanted to help Mel Robbins' voice. Right.
yeah, Mel Robbins was. So okay, so this is your pattern interrupt. Hi.
Okay.
So hey, Cece.
Yeah.
This is Brian. I'm a realtor. Real quick before I hang up, would it be all right if I asked you a quick question? That's gonna get you into the call. Okay? So your homework assignment for any of those haven't met leads that you're gonna call is I want you to practice just that line. Get comfortable saying that line. Okay, because that's going to get you into the conversation. You're going to get people that are giving you reluctant yeses. You're going to get people laughing. I get a laugh about half the time because nobody says that.
I
Okay.
mean, like just a good-hearted chuckle.
Yep,
like,
good-hearted
okay,
chuckle. Yep.
Not like
Yep.
condescending, right? Okay.
No, well, I get a condescending every once in a while. But again, we got to try to have fun with this, right? So then my next line is going to be after I get that yes. Yeah, you can. Yeah, go ahead, Brian. Okay. Well, I was calling about your property on 123 Main Street. You don't still own that by chance, do you? So I say that, and I use a little upswing at the end. So it's a question, and then they're like, well, yeah, I own that. Yeah, it's my house. So I don't come out and say, well, yeah, I saw that, you live at 123 Main Street, right? No. It's calling about the property on 123 Main Street. You don't still own that by chance, do you? So you say it that way. That's a no-oriented question, okay? Then I love this next one. Look, I realize this call is totally out of the blue. And I realize it's probably a long shot at best. But Lisa, would you be totally opposed to selling your house at some point if you got a really good offer on it? That's a really good question. Because now it makes them think. Notice how I didn't say, do you want to sell your house now? Would you be totally opposed? You got no oriented question. Would you be totally opposed to selling your house at some point if you got a really good offer on it? Now I'm figuring out, is this I'm getting into motivation. I'm getting into timeline on that. Okay? Let me scroll down and we'll get into what they will actually say. This is my expired script. I want to go into my certain prospecting script a little bit here. Okay. I know this is probably a long shot, but would you be totally opposed to selling if you got a great offer? And that's the bare bones. I added some language in there, which you'll do as you figure this out, right? Well, most people are going to say no to that question because we're salespeople. Okay? Most of the time I ask that question, would you be totally opposed to selling if you got a great offer? Well, no. You want to hear yes there. And we'll get to that in a second. You want to hear yes there. But what we call that in the business, typically that no is what is known as a counterfeit no. Not a real no. Let me ask you this question. This will be a show of hands. Raise your hand if you've ever walked into a department store and there was somebody at the front that asked you, would you like any help? What can I help you find? And what do you say? No, I'm just looking. Really? You are so freaking bored that you went to DSW just to look.
Yes.
You literally,
No. I mean.
there's the 1%.
Yeah, I know.
Don't you find it kind of interesting that 5 minutes later, that same person that just said no, they didn't need any help, is now buying something? That's that counterfeit yes or counterfeit no in this case. It happens all the time. Because we don't want to be, we don't want help. Okay? So that's why we're gonna flip it.
You say not right now.
What was that?
Say not right now. Typically, that's
Yeah.
what I say when I go into something like that, and I'm actually there in a shop and like, okay, I gotta know where I'm going, so not right now.
Yeah.
If I do, I'll come back and ask.
That's awesome. Most people don't do that.
I don't wanna waste my time.
You're skilled. That's great. Most people, no, I'm just looking, is what they normally say. Not right now, that's great. I love that. That's actually really helpful. I love people like you on the phone. Because you probably do the same thing. Be like, hey, Will, would you be totally opposed to selling your house if you got a great offer? No, not right now. And then I would say, okay, yeah, I totally get that. Most people aren't. If you were to get sounds like you are really enjoying your property. If, obviously if the property keeps going up in value, could you see a time in the future where you may consider selling the property? So now we're getting into that conversation. Okay, we're just flipping it. So you gotta kind of read what they're saying. So I would say, let's say they say no. Well, I totally get it, Will. Most people aren't. Let me ask you a quick question. How long have you owned the property?
17 years.
17 years, okay. Again, would sounds like you've been there for 17 years. I'm assuming you're really enjoying the property. Would you ever consider selling it in the future if the prices continue to increase on that property?
Yeah, after my daughter graduates.
Okay, so now what did I just get there? I got a timeline. And there's probably motivation. Well, that's great. Now watch. Now I'm going to use tactical empathy. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Well, I mean, seems like you're really enjoying your property and your daughter's graduating. What high school does she go to?
Northfield High School.
Which one?
Northfield High School.
Northfield, Minnesota?
Yeah.
You're kidding me. I graduated from Northfield High School.
Wow.
1998, like 200 years ago. Yeah, cool. What year did she graduate?
Next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Awesome. So 2020, 2027? Is that the year we're in?
Yeah.
Jeepers, man, we're getting old, aren't we? What the heck? Yeah, so how many kids you got?
One.
One, okay, that's awesome, so you got one kid that's about to be 18.
Yep.
Okay, again, I'm not trying to be too personal here, I'm just curious, like, are you married?
Might as well be.
Might as well be, okay, gotcha, yeah, the old ball and chain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now I'm just having a conversation, now we're just vibing, okay, I'm feeling him, I know Will, I know I can have this conversation with him. Okay, if it wasn't, I wouldn't go that far into it yet, but now I'm having this conversation with him, okay? Well, that's great, so like, after your daughter's graduates, like, by the way, what's your name? What's your daughter's name? McKenna. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. I knew a McKenna back in the day. She broke my heart, but no big deal. That I'm sure your daughter wouldn't do that. So anyways, so McKenna graduates, like, what do you guys think? Like, it sounds like you might consider selling the house at that point. Like, what are you guys to downsize? You gonna
No, get out of the cold.
Oh, cool, okay, so it's a little relocation.
Yes.
Awesome, I don't blame you. That's what this state is, it's freaking cold, right? Yeah, so that would be the next question up there. When the home sells, would you stay local or would you relocate altogether? If he wouldn't have told me that, I would have asked that question. That's a big one. That's gonna uncover some motivation. Okay, so here's what I know. I'm gonna pause quick. And this is a little rough just because we're off the cuff here, but it's still good. Okay, there's a lot to learn here. So right now, pause my conversation with Will. I have somebody that is going to have motivation in a year and timeline. Okay, his daughter's graduating. He's about to be an empty nester. He doesn't want to live in Minnesota anymore. Okay, so I got 2 of the 5. Does anybody know what I'm missing?
You have an awesome agent.
Yes,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding. Very good. Very good. Okay. So I'm gonna say something like, well, Will, it sounds like you guys got a pretty decent plan of what you're gonna do, which is awesome. Let me ask you a quick question. When you decide to sell the property, do you have just an amazing rock star realtor that you're 100% committed to, or would you be open to interviewing me for that job?
I'd be interested to interview you.
Okay, so now I got the third one. Okay,
Now, do I make this difficult and be like?
please, let's do it.
Okay. I'm also a realtor as well, so I'm thinking about listing it myself.
My favorite, I love it when they do this. Well, you don't freaking need my help then, do you? I say it all the time and I laugh. Because you will call people that are realtors and they will listen to your scripting. Hey, which is fine.
Yeah.
Hey, remember, we are detached from the outcome. Every conversation makes us better. I love that one. Let's go back. Let's do that one more time. Okay? Yeah, maybe you said, oh yeah, I may be interested in
Yeah,
it.
I'll maybe be in,
Okay.
we can sit down and have a conversation. I
Okay.
had a pretty good one.
So then you said the thing about what, so
Yeah.
say that again.
But I am a realtor as well, so I was thinking about listing it myself.
You're a licensed realtor in Minnesota. That's amazing. What the hell do you need me for?
Yeah, I still like building my pipeline.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So then we'd keep vibing on that. We'd have a conversation on that. But most of the time, he's not going to be a realtor. Okay. So then we would say, I would say something along the lines of, so now I can go a couple different directions. Let's say I'm going to use the script. So I would say, okay, hey, Will, makes sense. Sounds like you're really enjoying the property. Sounds like, after McKenna graduates, you guys are going to be considering relocating. I would figure out where he's relocating. Where would you relocate?
Probably to the city.
Sounds like, you might be heading down to Tennessee. I don't know if this makes any sense for you or not. And if it doesn't, this is one of my favorite lines. You can tell me no, please. You will not, I promise you will not offend me. Okay, it takes all the pressure off, right? Say, look, I have a bunch of homeowners. This is third-party story here. I have a bunch of homeowners that I keep updated on a regular basis. And honestly, what it is essentially, it's like every time a home sells in your neighborhood, you would get an email from me that tells you like, how long it sold, which house sold, how much it sold for, kind of keeps you up to date on what's happening in your neighborhood. Is that something that you would be opposed to me sending, or would you just delete it and never look at it?
I will look at it often. I mean, every once in a while, I should say, when it pops up through my email.
Yeah, okay, so so it sounds like that's something that would provide some value to you, to help you kind of figure out what's going on in the market, okay? So again, I'll ask again, like, would that be okay if I sent that to you?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll do that.
what's the best email for you typically?
I'm in Minnesota at Gmail.
Perfect. Okay, so now I got the email. Okay, so now I got motivation, timeline, not committed to an agent, because we're going to pretend you're not an agent in this one. I just got the email. Does anybody know which one I'm missing? It's number 4. And it's hard because you don't know it like me and I don't have my slides up. Perfect. Ding, ding, ding. Now I'm going to add. Good job. Misha, nice work. Claps for you. So now I'm gonna ask, well, it's great, man. Hey, I really enjoyed our conversation today. I'm gonna get a few of these things sent out to you, so that happens. Do me a favor. When you get my text or my email, will you just reply back, make sure that you got it, because sometimes I go into spam. I just want to make sure you're getting the stuff that I'm sending to you. And again, you will not offend me. So if this is not providing value for you or you don't like it, you can just send me back an email and say, hey, it's just not for me. That's totally fine. Again, you won't, the last thing I want to do is send you something that you hate, right? Last question, like, obviously I realize that, you and McKenna, you're not doing anything for like a year, but when would you like to hear from me again?
Probably after we go off in and we get a better feel for how you are.
Okay,
So a couple weeks and then.
couple weeks. Okay, perfect.
From there.
No problem. So what I'll do, if you're okay with this, I'm just gonna put it in my Google Calendar so that I remember. And I'll give you a quick call.
Okay.
Let me ask you a quick question about that. If I get your voicemail, what would you like me to do? If you don't answer, let me rephrase the question. If you don't answer, what would you like me to do? This is a huge question to ask. If you don't answer, let's pause it quick. If you don't answer, what would you like me to do? Because the probability of them answering on your follow-up calls, it's 50-50 at best. Okay? It's 50-50 at best. So now I'm trying to get a commitment. And this works really well in Minnesota because we're Minnesota nice. So Will, if you don't answer, what would you like me to do?
Send me a text.
Perfect. Not a problem. If you don't answer my text, what would you like me to do? I don't do that one often. It depends on the person. I know with Will, I can push him a little bit because we've interacted before.
Give me another call.
Not a problem. So you'll hear from me in a couple weeks.
Perfect.
Do me a favor. If anything pops up before then, please feel free to use me as a resource.
Okay.
Now, this is me. You might not be able to say this. I'll be honest with you, man. I was a teacher for 18 years. I love helping people, and I'm more than happy to teach you anything about real estate that I know things change so much. So if you ever have a question, feel free to use me as a resource. Now, you can flip that any way you want. But the whole idea here is we're making that connection. We're providing them value. And I know that now I have a pretty strong lead. And it's actually at this point now it's mine to lose. Okay, now Will's gonna go in my follow-up system. Okay, like Kelly and I were talking about, we're just gonna switch out the name. It's gonna be Will. Will B. Will B is a lead now. Okay, I know I'm calling him in 2 weeks, so it's gonna go right in my Google Calendar. Call Will B. And then didn't specify a time, doesn't matter. I like to do my follow-ups around 11 or noon. That's what I like to do. So I'm gonna call him in 2 weeks. It goes in my Google Calendar, does not go in my command. Well, technically, yes, it goes in my command, which goes to my Google Calendar, but put it in your calendar. Okay? These can get lost really easily and you don't want to lose these. So put them in a spot where you're going to always see it and it dings and it tells you to do it. Okay. So that's marked as a lead. Now he's going to get set up on HomeBot. Okay. He's going to go in my database. So he gets my monthly newsletter. He's going to get an email from me. He's going to get a text from me with my business card. If you don't have a image of your business card, get it. Okay, that way you can send it to them via text and he's going to get a handwritten card from me. And I'm going to do all of that at the end of the day. And if I don't get a chance to do it, today is what, Tuesday? I'm going to do it tomorrow. Yes, Kelly.
What would you have said differently if Will had said, well, I've got the realtor who helped me buy the house? Or, my friend or my, whatever. If he had an answer that he wasn't emphatically, yes, 100% rock star that I'm totally committed to, but there was somebody, what would you have said?
So then we're going to go down to, where did I put this? All right, slides up here. So I'm gonna do this one. I'll send you what I normally would say. Well, here's stuff. So I'm probably gonna say, okay, so let's go through that one more time. So you are telling me, yeah, I'll probably just use Johnny. Okay, I'll probably just use Johnny. I used them last time. Okay, yeah, I totally get that. Question. Would you be, because again, at the end of the day, all of us realtors, we're all really, honestly, we're all really different. We all do different things. I'm curious, would you be, when the time comes, would you be totally opposed to seeing a strategy that you may not have seen before? That at the end of the day will most likely net you the most money in the shortest time possible? Would that be something you'd be totally opposed to taking at least a peek at? Notice my body language. So again, you can't see me, but this is kind of just so you can kind of, it's all curiosity. Okay. Did I explain the strategy? No. But how do you say no to that? The person that says no to that has an agent like Kelly that they're sticking with them, right? That's what I want my clients to do. I want my clients, when somebody else makes this call, I want to say, well, no, we're with Brian. We're not going to interview anybody else. Okay. You're just trying to get that interview, right? There's another way of doing that too. I love this one where it's like, well, I do this one a lot on expires of like, well, so there's some takeaways here for you, Kelly. So I'll pretend that you and I are in the conversation here quick. So yeah, well, Kelly, like, what if I did this real quick? Would it be all right if I made a quick recommendation? I love that one. Would it be all right if I made a quick recommendation? Okay. That is called a universal yes question. Because I don't think anyone's ever said no to that. Would you be all right? Would it be all right if I made a quick recommendation? And then I'd say something like, well, Kelly, here's the deal. I really don't know if it makes any sense for us to work together or not. I'm certainly not the right agent for everybody, but I'm curious. Would you be totally opposed to inviting me over one day? And in this case, it's not this week. Would you be totally opposed to inviting me over at some point in the future? And when I'm there, I can share a strategy that I've used to help a lot of my clients sell their homes quickly and for top dollar. And then, at the end of our meeting, we can decide if it makes sense for us to work together or not. Does that seem fair? Sure. That is how you are going to get a lot of appointments. Okay, I'll send that one to you. You can figure out, you can change it. That's how I talk. Okay, you can use a lot of those things and you can take the damn thing for verbatim. I don't care. You got to figure out how you're going to talk. Okay. But that universal yes question, and then going into this whole idea of like, hey, I honestly don't know if it makes sense for us to work together or not. I'm certainly not the right agent for everybody. Would you be totally opposed? Again, no oriented question. Would you be totally opposed to, quickly meeting with me? I'll share that strategy that I helped a lot of my clients with sell their house for top dollar quickly. If it makes sense, great. And if it doesn't, I think again, you're not gonna offend me. I think does that seem fair? And you're just trying to get the interview. That's how you handle something like that. Now, there's other ways of doing it, but you got to push back a little bit. And the people that are really committed and they have a really good agent, you might not even get to that.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll lose some, and that's fine. That's good. Now we know they're not a lead. They have an agent. Here's the thing that people lose all the time on this. You want to hear no. Okay. You want to hear no as quickly as you possibly can. Because you're wasting time, and you've got to be really diligent about qualifying your leads, because you got to follow up with these people. If I think Will is a junk lead, the number of times I'm going to be following up with him Every time I follow up with him, it's one call that I'm not making to somebody new. So I want to make sure that he's a good lead. And if he's missing any one of those 5, he is not going in my lead follow-up system. He'll go in my database. That's different. Database for me is different. So now we're going to get into lead follow-up. Okay, I'm going to get into lead follow-up here. If I can figure out how to work this thing. Okay. So again, the follow-up phone call, the come list me call. So the goal is to build up all of these leads so that you can get that come list me call. Okay. Or in this case, a lot of it's a come list me text. Okay. I got 3 of them last week. Now I'm cheating a little bit because one of them was from my sphere, but again, it doesn't matter. It's the same. The system works for both. Okay. So again, when do you want to hear from me again? That will work for any lead source, which is huge. If you're not doing a monthly newsletter, you should start. Okay, you don't have to pay for a service. You can chat GPT it or Gemini it. Just get a list going and send them out something of value. Okay, there's all sorts of ways to do it. Okay, I'm pretty sure Grace can help you get something set up. If you don't, you should really do it. Even if you go through, if you just start and figure out who your top 100 is, get it in there and start sending them something. Okay, you're going to want to do that. HomeBot, huge, huge, huge. If you have a lender partner, it's $50 a month. If you have a lender partner, ask them to co-sponsor you. Now you're down to 25. The number of deals that I get yearly from HomeBot, because people get my home valuation, is insane. It's crazy. It's $25 times 12 months. So that's what, 200, that's what, $300 that I'm paying for that. It's nuts. And the thing I love about HomeBot is it'll let you tune up the value so you can do a quick CMA. So like, let's say I'm doing it for Sarah and her house is, let's say her house is worth, $750,000 or whatever. And I go in there and I tune it up and all of a sudden I see, well, yeah, I think honestly, it's probably going to sell at 775. So I'll put that in and now they're going to get real data every single month from that. That's happening with the market rising and falling. It's pretty dang accurate. Like once you tune it up, I'm really surprised at how accurate it is. And people love it. And you can see who's looking at it, which is huge. Depending on who the person is, they may just be getting a quarterly call from me. If it's my database, I'm not very consistent with it. I'm trying to do the D2D, whatever you call that thing, the R2D2. I'm trying to do that. I'm not very good at it. It's something that I want to get better at. But there's a reason why there's a question mark on there. Okay. At least my sphere is getting the HomeBot. They're getting my monthly newsletter. They're getting a birthday text from me. They're getting, if I see something, I don't use social media a lot, but if I see something that they did on social media, I'm not responding on social media. I probably should for the algorithm, but I don't give a crap about that. So I'm texting them. Hey, I saw that you guys went to Fort Lauderdale. Looked like that. Looked freaking awesome, whatever, that sort of thing. I'm trying to be more personal. So here's the key that people really struggle with when they're following up. Again, you kind of have to time block your time because you may only have 2 or 3 follow-ups a day. Okay. So I work with a system where I have my laptop in front of me and then I got a 36-inch monitor and I got it split screen. So on my top left screen are my scripts, because I know them pretty dang well, but I always like to go back to them. On my right side, I got MLS, HomeBot, homes.com, command there. And then down here, I got the same thing. I got Vulcan 7, I got command, whatever. So if I'm doing my follow-ups, I'm looking at here and let's say I'm going to call, Jamie. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, so Jamie and I talked back on January 1st. And I know that I have to call him back today. So I'm quickly looking, I'm like, okay, what did we talk about? Okay, we talked about his home there on 123 Main Street. So I'm pulling up HomeBot, saying, okay, his home on 123 Main Street. Right now it's valued at 525. And then I'm also pulling up MLS real quick. And I'm saying, okay, is there anything that's sold? Pending or sold? Okay, and I'm not very good at that. I should be better at it, but now I'm going to call with some value. I'm not going to just call and say, hey, just checking in. God, people hate that. Oh, barf. If you're gonna call it check-in on me, just, I'm fine, okay? Fuck off. I don't check in on me, okay? Leave me alone, pardon my language. Like, no. You can be calling to check in, just for the love of God, don't say it, okay? Call with some value. My favorite one to say is, I'll be like, hey, Jamie. Jamie, how you doing, man? It's Brian, KW.
Dude, you gotta check it in on me.
No, hell no. You know I wouldn't do that, man. Hey, I was curious. How's that HomeBot working out for you? Still providing you some value? Yeah. So I was looking at it the other day. It looks like you're up to 525 now. What do you think? That's pretty decent equity you guys have now?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Did you happen to see that your neighbor's place just went on the market? Yeah. Yeah, Shane down there at 125 Main Street just put his house on the market. Yeah, he started the damn thing and started somebody else's house on fire, so he had to come over there and he's gonna sell his house and, yeah.
You said I'm legitimate, so I guess we're gonna stay.
Go home.
Yeah, so anyways, you can,
Yeah.
you are going to lead with some kind of value. The HomeBot is such an easy thing to fall back on because you can pull it up real quick. Okay? I will pull it up as I'm dialing, but I've gotten quick at this. Okay? It's better if you can take a little bit of time, look back at your call log, figure out what you talked about, and then you call them because they're going to feel way more connected with you. Okay? But I will always, especially if it's someone that I have had maybe one call with, I'll always say, hey, Jamie, we had a really good conversation back on January 1st. Do you remember talking with me? Because that is a yes question that I want to know the answer to. Okay, because I have a relationship built with this person. Well, at least I think I do. Do you remember talking to me? Okay, because now you kind of play on the Minnesota nice a little bit where they're kind of like, well, it's almost like they don't want to say no. Well, no, shit, I have no idea who you are. But most of the time they're gonna say, yeah, well, I got your card and I've been getting your HomeBot. So then you just kind of go, okay, yeah, that's awesome. Well, when we last spoke, you told me, key word there, you told me that you wanted me to give you a call here in April. Because remember, when do you want to hear from me again? You told me you wanted me to give you a call in April. And I just wanted to reach out, see how HomeBot was working and see has anything changed. If not, no worries. I figured I would just ask. And now let them talk. And now you're just gonna keep the conversation. You're going to summarize their calls. You're going, or their talks. You're gonna say, well, yeah, it sounds like you're really enjoying your property, or it sounds like, you're like in Will's case, like your daughter is just a senior, and that's freaking awesome. Like, is she, all sorts of questions you can go. Just ask questions and you just keep asking, it sounds like, or it seems like. Okay. The other thing that you can do, this is a really fun one, it's called mirroring. So you basically repeat the last 1 to 3 words that the person says, and then they will always rephrase it. So if Cece and I are talking and I'm asking Cece about her weekend, so how was your weekend?
It was good. It was just a little short.
Oh, a little short?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I left work at 5 o'clock on Friday. I went to, I turned a corner and here it is Monday morning at 8 a.m. already due at work.
Day at 8.
You know?
Yeah, it seems like it seems like it was a pretty short weekend and you might be a little bit thinking, oh God, work again.
Yeah, I just feel like I don't get a lot of time for myself personally.
Yeah, a lot of time for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like, that just seemed like most of my life goes towards work and hashing it out at work and not a whole lot of time to be a wife and a mom and really enjoy me.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, it's good. Sounds like it might be time for you guys to go on a Caribbean cruise. Whatever, you get the point, but like you can use
Feeding.
those things.
These kids 11.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm feeding.
Okay, so this is the way that I do things. I just talk. So I hope I will talk to Jamie Actually, if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, if you would just write on this sheet of paper, your name, your full name, so I can get that email sent out for some of these scripts, so you can have that. If you found some value in this, I'm more than happy to do another one, or as many as we need, to work on some of these scripts. And kind of get into that, but I think if you're gonna get started on this, I would definitely take a look at doing some of those just listed, just sold calls. Those are the easiest calls to make, and it's gonna be a little bit like, when you start, but I think you'll find a lot of value in adding that to your lead gen strategy.
I'm kind of like you.
Thanks, Brian, it was phenomenal, I could have gone.
Oh, yeah.
But I came from B to B.
Yeah,
So
so that makes a lot of sense.
that was the
Yep.
He was this.
Yeah,
Burning up relationships.
yeah, I'm the same way.
And then if you do make it through, to be on.
Yep.
Right outside the door.
Yep, no, I totally agree.
Oh, sorry, Brian, I gotta go, but this one.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Where'd that sheet go?
I don't know, someone wants to eat it.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's been a while. How was your Easter?
It was good. How
Yeah.
was yours?
Good. I just ate like it was Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Speaking of.
yeah.
Oh, thank you. I know. Thank you.
Get in.
Yeah. Quick. Thanks, Brian.
How are you, honey? Good.
Tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done it like. And that's what my assumption was.
You have to go like right after.
Yeah, I know. Hungry.
Be here.
Yeah.
Do you wanna go around?
You're walking again?
I tend to skip like that.